Welcome back to the Elle Sera podcast. On today's episode, we spoke to Jaymie from Body Smart Fitness. Jaymie is a weight loss expert, especially for females. We talked all about hormonal changes, menopause, weight gain, weight loss, not only how to lose weight, but how to keep it off for life. We talk about creating new habits, creating new environments, menstrual cycles, and more. So listen up. Okay, hi Jaymie.
Hi.
Thanks for joining me today on the Elle Sera podcast.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's all right. So I've followed you for quite some time now. A friend of mine was like, oh, you got to get on this guy, Jaymie. He's got a great platform. And when I started looking at your Instagram page, it was just like I could repost every single thing that you put on there, really. It was so kind of what I say to our customers, what I say to our clients, and kind of the way I live my life myself. So, I really thought, I've got to get you on the podcast because you seem great. So for people who don't know who you are, can you just introduce what you do?
I'm Jaymie Moran, one of the co-founders of Body Smart Fitness, and we specifically help women lose weight and keep it off for the rest of their lives. Okay, so
talk to me about what strategies you employ to do that.
So for us, there's always going to be those fundamentals of, training and nutrition, but, really making sure that we are developing the character traits, the habits, the skills, and most importantly, the right mindset to lose weight and keep it off.
Okay. So it's like an all-encompassing program. Is that what it is? It's a program?
Yeah. So we do coaching, one-to-one coaching with a coach.
Okay.
And then when someone comes in, we'll bring them through a set level. So they'll start at like level 1 and then we'll progress them all the way up to graduation.
Oh, wait. Amazing. Yeah. Amazing. And how did you start this business?
So my story is a little bit different, I think, because people go, well, you're a guy, what are you doing as a guy coaching women, or how do you get into this? So I've got 3 younger sisters and a mum, and they all struggled with their weight and body image when I was younger. And I watched them go through that. So to the point where like they'd come in and be like, Jaymie, like, what am I wearing? Like, I feel fat, I feel this. And my mum was like a counsellor every single weekend for, my sisters. I feel fat, I feel this. And then sometimes they come in and they go, oh, my, how do I look? And I'm like, your skirt's too short. And I'm like, good. And I'm going out and like, yeah. But, it was this constant battle of self-doubt, not feeling good enough, feeling just huge, in terms of like how it was affecting, I guess, their mental health. Mental health wasn't really like a word like it is the way today. And then watching my mum go from diet to diet to diet. So I grew up seeing that. And like, I never viewed my sisters or my mum like that, but seeing how much they struggled with their body image. Then when I actually become a personal trainer, I thought, I'm an in-shape guy, I'm going to attract male clients.
Yeah.
And I started about 50-50, but after a year, I kind of had 90-10. So it was like 90% women, 10% men. So I just thought I'd do like a bit of a survey and ask. And the women that I coached just went, oh, it's because you've got sisters. Like it's, I feel like I can talk to you as a woman. A lot of them said I'm like the only guy they've spoke to about their menstrual cycle and about their period. They don't even speak to their partner about it. Because I would be structuring some of their training sometimes around their menstrual cycles. So, at certain points in their cycles, they might, not have as much energy or might feel stronger. So we would program what their RPE, which is their like exertion point almost, we would base that on terms of sometimes around their menstrual cycle. So getting that feedback off them, it kind of almost felt like a natural step into the online side of things to just target women. And in the beginning, that was just like any woman. Mm-hmm. But as we sort of progressed, or as the business progressed, we now only really coach women over 25, but mainly women between 30 and sort of 60.
Right. Amazing. Yeah. It's an amazing success story, really. And I can completely appreciate that. You've seen your mum growing up and your sisters struggling with the body image. And yeah, you would feel more comfortable talking to you because you're probably more sympathetic to it. And it's an interesting point that you brought up menstrual cycles, because nobody ever talks about this. I talked about this last week actually here, because I did like my best ever PB ever. Mm-hmm. And I had a look at my menstrual cycle, and like it was like 2 weeks before my period. My testosterone was the highest. Yeah. And I was like, just keep whacking on the weight. You know what I mean? And you can really harness your hormones big time if you know where you are in your cycle. And I say this till I'm blue in the face on this channel, like you should be tracking.
Yeah. I mean, and I have to be very careful of how I curate my message as a guy, because it's just like, stop mansplaining to women.
Absolutely.
You know, so I'm very careful with how I curate my message. But one of the best things, at least I believe, that a lot of women can do is to get in tune with the menstrual cycle by tracking it. Not only just for your physical health in terms of like knowing when you might need a little bit more sleep or a little bit more calories. But also just like for your mental health. So just like a lot of the women that we coach have this like all or nothing mentality. They have such high standards for themselves. So when you don't feel 100%, like mentally beating themselves up, instead of being like, oh no, I'm on day 26 of my cycle, I know I typically feel more lethargic and tired. You know what? I'm not going to judge myself if I'm not on point today. You know, I'm still going to show up, but showing up and being consistent today might look different than another day in my cycle. So knowing that allows you to play into your physiology. But also like when it comes to relationships, like if you know you're going to be a certain way or feel a certain way on certain parts of your cycle, you know, communicating that with your partner, having an expectation with yourself around how you're going to show up and work, stuff like that can be huge, you know.
Well, this is the thing. I always say to people, if you need to have a challenging conversation in work, I would be doing it around this point in your cycle. You know, you will lean into hard situations more at that point. And then you've got women who are on the birth control pill, and then it's completely different.
It is,
They're like, well, they're not really in tune with their cycle because it's not a real period when they do have it, or they don't have one at all. I mean, it's up for debate, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, the pill. I'm against it because I don't take it. I've taken it once in my life and I just thought, you know what, it's not for me, this. But if for people it really works for them, then great.
I mean, the obviously you can understand why women do take the pill, because the cost of not taking it is a baby.
Absolutely,
and you know, so but like there's a lot. I believe it's handed out a little bit too easy. So
agreed.
you know, like you've got a 14-year-old that's struggling with spots. Oh, take the pill, or you know, and it is handed out a little bit too much without maybe too much of an instruction manual around what to expect, or should you ever come off. And you know, a lot of the women that we speak to, especially in the UK, you know, being on birth control for 15 years.
That's what I mean.
It is hormone replacement, you know, therapy to an extent as a young woman. And yes, you know, maybe you're trying to get your skin to be a little bit better or whatever else. But yeah, I do think it's just handed out, especially to young girls, far too soon. And there is a long list of side effects that come with it.
And not really spoken about. They just say you might be a bit mood swings. You might get sore boobs, and they don't really discuss the side effects. Plus, then I think, you're taking exogenous hormones, and you're kind of like numbing yourself to feeling the way you should be feeling as well. And then it's really interesting. They say you pick a different partner as well when you're. Well,
it's meant to be your smell, your sense of smell goes, and that has been many stories of women coming off the pill trying to have a baby, and when they're like, why do I fucking hate my partner?
Absolutely.
Or you're just not attracted to them as much.
I met a lady at a talk, and and I mentioned this, and she said, oh my God, that really resonated with me, because when I came off the pill to have a baby, I hated my partner. And I was like, oh my God, you've got...
Apparently we can smell, it's something to do with the genes. So it's basically so you don't...
You pick a partner that's supposed to be like matched.
Like the opposite of your genes, so you don't have cross whatever the DNA is, so you don't end up having you know, someone who's like your sister's fourth cousin or something, who knows, it's something like that.
I know. The thing is, I think for me as well, what annoys me is the fact that it's not across the board in terms of, okay, so they'll hand out exogenous hormones to like a 9, 10, 12-year-old girl without telling them anything. And yet at the other end of the scale, when you get to menopause, or you're a man who's got low TRT, low testosterone, and you might want some testosterone replacement therapy or something, like you can't get any of it. You know? So it's like, it's not, there's no structure within what they're doing.
No, and I would say, and you know, I'm still flipping team guys, even though I'm very much, you know, very much support women. But women are definitely underserved throughout their health from start to finish. You know, right away going through puberty and you know what we just spoke about there with the pill, going through pre and postnatal around pregnancy. You know, you even just said yourself, you've just had a baby.
Exactly. I've just had a baby, an emergency C-section, and that is it. You know,
like what advice were you given when you had the C-section?
Don't pick up anything
heavier. Don't drive for 12 weeks. Or
don't pick anything heavier up than her. there's a car seat and you need to be at this appointment for the next 2 weeks. You know what I mean? You got to go and see the health visitor and you got to go to the GP because she's got to have her jabs. And I'm like, okay, who's carrying this car seat then? Because I'm not supposed to be, but I've got to do. So it is very difficult,
Yeah, and then right away up, like you said, into perimenopause and menopause, there's all the other, gynecological struggles that women go through, whether that's polycystic ovaries, endometriosis, like the list goes on and on and on. So it's a lot harder for women, and the women just aren't served in all these different areas of health.
No, exactly. Well, there's more money spent on erectile dysfunction, on research, than there is for endometriosis. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it seems to be on the rise. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know why it is.
To endometriosis.
Yeah. PCOS.
Yeah.
Is it the plastics? Is it all these phthalates that we've got everywhere? Is it the environment? Is it the ultra-processed food and diets? Probably a mishmash of all of it. It's
probably a combination of it all. Yeah, it's definitely affecting our hormones. It's affecting, guys' testosterone levels are on a 10% decline every decade. It's I think 40% down in the last 40 years. Sperm count's going down, and they're saying, is it the plastics? Is it this? Is it that? So there's lots of different things that are going on.
Yeah.
But there's a sign for men and women that our physiology is not where it wants to be anymore.
Yeah, it's scary, really. I read a book called Countdown by Dr. Shanna Swan. If you haven't read it, I would definitely recommend it. Equally terrifying, equally fascinating. But where we are as a species now is not where we were 50 years ago in terms of fertility. She says that, by 2045, most couples will have to have assisted fertility in some way.
Yeah, and it's you're seeing as well, because of the rise in levels in obesity. I think by 2030, America is going to be over 50% of the countries either going to be obese or morbidly obese, which is obviously huge. And the UK is not too far behind. But because you're seeing that increased rate of obesity, you're also seeing children become more overweight. Yeah. And that's actually seeing young girls start their menstrual cycle earlier in life.
Yeah, so, I was going to say that. Yeah.
And that will also mean they'll go through fertility issues earlier or go into perimenopause, which is a tough pill in contrast, I could imagine, for many women to face, in the sense of, maybe you're just getting to that point where you're excelling in your career. Yeah. But now the time that you've got, I think 34, you're classed as geriatric now as a woman.
I was 37 when I had a baby. Yeah. I was well geriatric at that point. And I still think of myself in my head as 21. So I walk around literally with my pram thinking, I'm a young mum. Yeah. And I'm thinking, no, I'm not. I'm actually not. I'm nearly 40. I'm 38 in 2 days. So I'm actually not a young mum. But in terms of fertility, of course I am. Yeah, I'm geriatric. But yeah, so lots of girls are coming on the period younger. It's to do with weight, isn't it?
It's to do with the weight. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's due to the I think the stress and the weight that the body's under.
I think they can get it as long as you've got to a certain point I think to be able to carry a baby, they get to hit a certain weight in what in terms of their body proportion, and that's kind of so. I know 9-year-olds who are starting the periods. Yeah. And it breaks my heart because I've just had a little girl. And I was literally thinking about this yesterday, and I was thinking, if she starts her period at 9, and I feel like I would have, I've been robbed of my little girl. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I want her to be a teenager, 13 at least. That's what I'd be ready for, because then they start getting interested in, their hormones start kicking in. Yeah. And you start getting interested in boys and sex and things like that. And I'm really sorry, but I do not want a 10-year-old little girl or anything thinking, oh my God. So that stresses me out. I think about these things all the time, and I think I'm really hot on the baby's diet. She's probably supplements more than most adult humans I know.
Okay, yeah.
She's been on supplements since the day she was born. Well,
what type of supplements?
Okay, so I had my own supplement protocol when I was pregnant, which I've posted all over online. But omega-3, big time, really good one, really peak EPA, DHA. She still
these all in doses, I'm assuming, for...
Okay, so I took 2,000 milligrams while I was pregnant. Now she has 1 milligram a day of DHA. Then vitamin D. Yeah. Yeah, she was born in October. I was sat at home all the time. Couldn't really go anywhere because my cesarean, so she needed vitamin D.
There's even been lots of studies that show that even surfers in California still are not getting enough vitamin D.
It's ridiculous, So vitamin D, I supplement that all year round. Yeah, we're not living in California, so you've got to do it. Yeah. Magnesium, big one when I was in pregnancy. Little bit of zinc. mainly for the skin quality. I didn't get one stretch mark.
Amazing.
What else did I take? B vitamins.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your little girl's taking these now as well?
No, she takes probiotics, pre and probiotics she takes. And it's a good one. It's an expensive one from America. But the strains in it were really good. In particular, if anyone's listening to this, Lactobacillus rhamnosus GG is probably the best one.
Okay.
And
no idea what that means.
Okay, so it's one of the best strains, one of the most studied strains. That's a really good one for your children and or yourself. So give her that. And then, and then she has a DHA, vitamin D. And then, I mean, her diet is amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
I go to like a restaurant or something, there'll be a kids menu, which is just fried food, like chicken nuggets and stuff. And I'm just like, no. So like she has like a piece of salmon or eggs. Just she eats what I eat basically. Because I think, well, I wouldn't eat that shit. So I'm not going to give it to her.
Fair.
She's like a growing little girl. And she, especially, I think the one thing anybody can take away from this is the omega-3. There's been so many studies done. And I think it's Professor Alex Richardson, who did a huge studies on children with omega-3 deficiency, what that caused in behavioural issues.
Right.
There's also a guy called, this was on Radio 4 on Sunday, I was listening to this. I can't believe at this stage in my life, like, I get back in the car for like 1 o'clock because I wanted to listen to something on Radio 4, but it was super interesting. It was all about omega-3.
Yeah.
Anyway, a guy called Dr. Crawford, who's been banging on about this since the 1970s, saying that you must be giving this to your children. And they did studies on women. I think it was a study out of Denmark, 20,000 women or something crazy. And the women who ate a predominantly fish diet, they looked at their children at 8 years old, and the ones who didn't, they looked at those children, and the ones who they were thriving, the ones who had a predominantly fish diet because it had more omega-3 in it, and the ones who didn't had more behavioural issues and etc.
Right.
So there's got to be something in that. So she has that in every single bottle she has.
Amazing.
So and it's great for hormonal balancing. And I think it's Andrew Huberman who, for the neurological. The neurological benefits of omega-3, you need to be having a high dosage.
You do. The cod liver oil tablets that people take and think they're taking omegas have got nowhere near.
They've got nothing. I say it all the time. I'm like, it's like 10 milligrams or something. I'm like, I take 2,000 a day. That's how much I'm taking. I say this till the cows come home. The devil is in the dosage. Like I'm into supplements, definitely, but the devil is in the dosage. Someone might put a great blend together. And one thing I'm really vocal about is how potent our supplement is. So when I was creating it, we used clinical data. So we knew how much of that dosage you needed to get that effect. So you might get people who might use maca and they will go, oh yeah, maca helps hot flushes. Well, it does, but not at the dosage you're putting it in. You need to be doing 10 times that to make that work. And so I'm very vocal about that. Like you can go and buy someone else's product and it might be £20 cheaper, but I guarantee you're not going to get the result.
For me, I mean, like my personal sort of story with supplements has been that I've just followed my blood work. So like I'll get my bloods done like every 6 months, which, for a lot of people, like that's a really extreme. It seems, at least that's how culturally it seems, as like an extreme thing to do, but like prevention's always better than the cure. And your blood work will just tell you like what's going on way before you know what's going on. So like I seen like, oh, my vitamin D was like 70 out of like 200.
Wow.
So I've doubled it. It's like 150 now out of 200, which is like on the way higher side of sort of optimal. But again, it's just, it allows you to see, like you said, it's the same with all things, like the dangers in the dosage, and too much of anything can be bad. But it's almost that you're playing chemist almost, and
you
a
are.
Bit of chemistry.
I mean,
with your body.
Things like vitamin D, you'd have to be going crazy to be creating any kind of toxicity with that. I take about 5,000 IU a day.
I take a little bit less than that.
4,000, something like that. I have taken up to 8,000 when it was COVID. I was taking absolutely loads of it. But I think you'd have to be taking like 100,000 a day.
You'd have to be taking a lot, and
to create any kind of negative effect in the body. The hard part,
if anyone is actually deficient in vitamin D, it can take months, even like a year, to get your levels back into an optimal place, even on a mega high dose. So, but it's such an important supplement to take, and hormone.
Yeah, well, it's a steroid hormone.
Yeah.
It was wrongly categorized as a vitamin all those years ago. And because your body can only make it when, Dale Pinnock should go through this like kind of terminology. But yeah, it's a steroid hormone and you need it. It's like you have a receptor cell on every single cell in your body. And if you're deficient in that, you're going to notice it in every single part of yourself. Yeah. So yeah, okay. So as part of your program, how does it work? So you meet a coach.
Yeah, so someone would apply. We don't just take on anyone. We're a little bit.
You can be choosy now.
Yeah, well, what we want to do is we'll go above and beyond to get you results, but we want to make sure that you're committed. And it's not that we just need to make sure you're ready, willing, and able. That's basically it. So if someone's ready, willing, and able, it's like if you're there, like we'll do the rest and meet you where you need to be. So yeah, someone will come in. We'll assign them with a one-to-one coach based on personality is one. So like our sales team, our breakthrough team will make sure like that we're going to get a good personality match because that helps. But then also, they'll be matched with that coach on skill set. So if somebody is going through, menopause, we'll make sure that they're with one of our menopause expert coaches or just different things. When you speak to people on a one-to-one basis, you realize that a lot of people, everyone's got a story and everyone's had their own struggles through life and maybe with food and health and, you can't judge. And we're very much about compassionate coaching. It's like one of our core values, but we're also very results driven. Yeah. So we have a very no bullshit approach. Yeah. So we will tell people like what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. And we'll come in, we'll go into Kickstart week. It does what it says on the tin. It kickstarts you to get that initial motivation and get you in motion. And then you'll go into level 1, which has got set habits, skills, in order before you can go into level 2. So you have to basically pass level 1. Okay. And then your coach has to pass you as well. Okay. And then you move into level 2. Now, the belief side of it there is there's a great quote, which is, we question all of our beliefs except the ones that we truly believe and the ones that we never think to question. And, that's it. Some people will have a belief that they've got the fat gene or they've struggled with the weight the whole life, so they're never going to see success, or carbs make you fat, or I need to run to lose weight. These are all beliefs that people have and will continue to believe until, they're either shown otherwise or believe otherwise. How we change people's beliefs through our coaching is just by stacking evidence. So it's, as they'll go through level 1 to level 2, if they've had beliefs that I can't eat carbs and lose weight, but I've been eating carbs and losing weight, well, they now look back and the evidence shows them I've been able to eat carbs and lose weight, or I've not had to run and I've lost weight. So we change their beliefs and ultimately how they perceive and view themselves to become that fit and healthy person. Because for someone to truly make a sustainable change, yes, you've got to have the right habits in place. You've got to have your environment set up for success. You need to make it easy for you to stay consistent. And then there's the skill side of it. Like you've got to have, I just make it very logical and easy. If you look at nutrition as a skill set. Yeah. So level 1, you've never even heard of a calorie. Level 100, you're a PhD in nutrition. Yeah. Yeah, you probably want to get somewhere where you're like level 50, 60, where you get food, you understand it, you understand portion control, you can eat out and not be stressed. Food doesn't like consume your everyday thoughts. That's kind of where you want to be, like in the middle, level 50, 60. And you can get there. It's just a repeatable skill. Like say you wanted to become an accountant. Yeah. Day 1, you don't know anything. Yeah. A couple of years in, you can do it like the back of your hand. Same's applied to nutrition. Training is a huge part. We get all our clients doing full body strength training. And again, it's a lot of people don't want to do this or a little bit off put, but we can say like once you again develop the skill, 2 half-an-hour sessions a week, you can do 6 movements and train your whole body under resistance, but it might take you a couple of hours per week of building up that skill set to get proficient at the movements and exercise. And then, there's other parts about setting your environment up for success. So, even me, I don't know how strong your willpower is, but even me, if there was a cookie jar on in the kitchen, and every day I walk in, it's there, day 1, 2, 3, but it gets day 4, I come in, I'm like, everyone's going to cave a little bit. It depends
what time of the month it is, I would say, for me.
Yeah, so, making sure your house is set up for success, your environment set up for success, your gym. If you go into a gym is on the way to work on a route that you regularly take, you need to reduce as much friction as possible. And like when you start doing all of this, you have a high skill set in training, high skill set in nutrition, your environment set up for success. It's easy for you to stay on top of things. And then you start believing that you can do this. that's ultimately how you create that foundation of not just losing weight, but keeping it off for life.
Okay. Sounds like you've got into my head and just spoke everything I pretty much say to every single customer that comes on to me. And even on my personal page, like I've documented my weight loss, and it's been strength training, to be honest. I haven't got time to go to the gym every day. I haven't got the time. I have 3 hours a week where I might be able to get a babysitter for, that's it. But the rest of it was eating well, and I walked 10,000 steps a day. That was it. And the rest, and I tried to sleep as much as I could with a newborn baby. And that was it. 3 times a week, I would just weight train. And, you know, I didn't move mountains or anything. I had to be patient. But every single week, I'd lose 1 kilo. So 2 pounds a week consistently, I would lose 1 kilo.
Amazing.
And then people would be like, oh, it's only 2 pounds. I know. But when you look back over 3 months.
Oh, it's huge, isn't it?
And that's the thing that I try and get. It's, you need to be patient. You need to persevere with this. And 100% creating a great environment. I say this all the time. You've got to make it easy for yourself. Get all the rubbish out of the house. Do a kitchen detox. And find a gym on the way to something that you pass every single day. It's got to be that easy. Otherwise, and set your gym bag up the night before. Set yourself up for the win.
I still do that. I leave my gym clothes out the night before, and you know, I set my alarm. I've already got it in my calendar when I'm working out. So you know, all you've got to do is beat the alarm, which I know is a struggle for some people. But again, it's just getting into that habit of like, right, beat the alarm for a week. Okay, you've shown yourself you can do it for a week. Beat the alarm for 2 weeks. Right now, you've built that evidence. You've done it for 2 weeks. You do it for a month. Now it's like, okay, I can do this. So you've got to really start to reframe that mindset around that. Oh, I'm not a morning person who can work out. I'm not the person who can do this. You know, you've just got to start stacking those wins and being consistent. But I like we said there about walking, because I think walking is probably the most underrated form of exercise.
Yeah, it totally is.
And, you know, sometimes going to the gym and doing a 60-minute session and the drive there and the drive back, you know, can feel quite difficult. But actually just trying to get your general activity and movement up can make a significant difference. So always taking the stairs.
I would literally say it was the whole reason like I managed to get the weight off. Like it really was. And then I upped it to 12,000 because it was the only thing I could do with the baby. You know, it meant she got out for the day. I would just walk around town, do whatever. And I thought, right, I've done my 10,000 steps. I know I've got that in at least, you know.
And that for most people is like 500 to 600 calories burned just from doing 10,000 steps. You look at, you know, probably like a moderate to an intense workout for 45 minutes for your average woman might be 300 to 400 calories. So your steps are going to burn, and I'm not trying to dissuade anyone from exercise. Exercise is amazing, but your steps are going to burn a lot of calories, and you can do that every day. And for a lot of people, like, so my girlfriend works in a hospital. She just parks at the back of the car park. It takes her about 10 minutes to walk in and then 10 minutes out, and then she does steps in the day and goes for a walk at lunch, and she's doing 10, 12,000 steps a day. She's not having to really be intentional about going for a 1 hour walk. She's just changed parts of her day to day that she moves more. And that's the same. Like anywhere we go, we always take the stairs, not the lift or the, you know, the elevator. Always park at the back of the car park, and just, you know, sometimes we'll get off at a train station early, just walk for an extra 6-7 minutes. And just all those little things, you're just generally making yourself more active. And if you're trying to lose weight, that means you're burning more calories, easier to create a larger calorie deficit and lose weight faster. But also if you're just trying to maintain your weight and you're generally more active, it means you have to eat, like it's harder to get fat. It's harder to gain fat because you're burning so many calories on a consistent basis. The
other thing I did, which I'd never really done before, but I thought, no, I'm going to take this seriously now, was I worked out my macros. And I've never been one of those people who's like, you've got to track your macros. But I did it. And as long as I hit my protein intake a day, because this is the thing now, I'm 38 now. So I start thinking, and because all I do is look at perimenopause and menopause all day long. So I'm trying to edge my bets, not for perimenopause, but I'm going to get my health sorted now. And I probably have had an eye on this ever since I was about 35. Probably been thinking about this and structuring my life so that I can, at 80, be fit and healthy. And in my head, I think I am not on this. I'm not doing a diet. I'm not going weight training for a holiday or anything like that. This is for the rest of my life. And one of the big things was just keeping my protein intake. If I did nothing else right that day, as long as I hit my protein goal, I would say that's
probably the most important macronutrient. Fat's obviously super important for our hormones and health as well. Carbs are obviously tasty, but they're not actually essential. You know, we can get away with not having them in our diets. But yeah, you know, having that point of consistently hitting your protein intake, it's also highly thermic. So you burn around 20 to 30% of the calories you consume from protein. And it's also highly satiating.
Exactly.
You know, you won't eat a giant steak or a load of salmon or chicken or something, you know, you're going to feel very satiated and full after it. Versus like carbs, you know, there's all the highly palatable foods are normally highly carb based or high sugar based, and they just keep you going back for more and more and more. So yeah, you know, making sure you consistently get enough protein in your diet is super important. But I like the fact that you're thinking about your 80-year-old self.
I am. Oh, absolutely. I look at Jennifer Lopez and think, well, I don't know what she's on, but I am going to look like that.
Yeah,
like,
definitely. Yeah.
But it doesn't happen by accident. Do you know what I mean?
It doesn't happen by accident, but it's very much, you know, good habits do compound over time, and bad habits compound over time. So, you know, you've got good financial habits now, you'll be wealthier in 10 years, 20 years. You've got poor financial habits, like you'll probably get in more debt and more loans, and life will get considerably harder. But it's very similar with your health. You know, anything you're not dealing with today will resurface in the future, and it often costs you more time, effort, energy, money. So if you start to stack some of these small health wins now, whether it's just eating a bit more protein, getting a few more steps in, and start to curate more of that lifestyle, it, like, as you get into those later decades, it makes such a significant difference. So like, everyone knows when you're 20, someone who's fit and healthy and someone who's not, the gap isn't that much. When you're 30, you can see it a bit in your friends, you know what I mean? Like I can, I'm 31, I can see it in some of my friends who haven't taken care of themselves. When you're 40, gap starts to open a lot. Maybe some people are getting some chronic health issues at this point. When you're 50, people who haven't looked after themselves might not even make it that age. That's when you can really start to see heart disease kick in, you know, high blood pressure, diabetes, pain, like just chronic pain all the time, back issues. 60, you two different lives. We've got clients in their 60s who are going skiing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, running, playing with the kids, grandkids. And then there's other 60-year-olds I know who are in a couch.
Struggling to walk.
Yeah, you know, just like struggling to breathe. So, you know, it's really making a point of investing in your health, for me, is like one of the best return on investments you can make. Not financially. I'm not saying like sign up for coaching, but you can do that too. But it's very much investing that time, you know, developing those skills around nutrition, around training, around moving effectively, making it a lifestyle is, for me, is the best return on investment that you can make.
I think it's, for some people, they need to find why they're doing it. Like, why are you doing it? And I always say this, like, if I'm speaking to a customer, I'm like, and they're always like, I just can't lose weight. I've tried everything. And I'm like, have you got children? And they're like, yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm like, okay, well, your habits are now, they are watching you every day. And do you want that for them? Because the one thing that I'm conscious of, and the real thing that's kicked me into gear since having my little girl, is I want her to be the healthiest. Do you know what I mean? I want her to excel in loads of different ways.
Yeah.
You know, I want her to be sporty, but she needs to see that. She needs to be exposed to that.
Yeah.
I'm from a musical family, but if I was, I guarantee she'd be playing an instrument.
Yeah.
But you know, from my opinion, I think she needs to see me working hard. She needs to see me go in the gym.
Yeah.
She needs to see me eating well.
Definitely.
Because all of these things she's exposed to, she's going to just pick up and adopt, and it's monkey see, monkey do.
It is monkey see, monkey do, 100%. And it's hard, you know, like sometimes I can see there and you can see obese parents and obese kids, and you know, you try not to have that lens on of being too judgmental around it, because you do never know what someone's gone through, and that's I definitely try and keep that lens on, because it is easy to just judge at times. But you know, having a strong reason why to change is so important. So we play an exercise out with our clients called the Going 5 Whys Deep.
Yeah.
So say somebody's like, right, I want to lose 3 stone or 50 pounds, and it's like, okay, well, why?
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, well, because I want to feel better. It's like, well, why do you want to feel better? And it's like, oh, then there's often a pause. Why do I want to feel better? I want to have more energy and I want to look better. And it's like, okay, let's keep going. Like, why do you want to have more energy and look better? And it's like a longer pause. I want to be able to keep up with my kids and spend more time, and maybe my partner's not looking at me the same anymore, doesn't find me as attractive when I, you know, had 50 pounds less on me. Okay, well, why is that important to you? I mean, it's like, well, because I want to be the best mum that I can be, and I want to have a great relationship with my partner, and I want to be able to have sex with the lights on, you know what I mean? Like, and it's like, oh, okay, so that's a hell of a lot more tangible than I just want to lose a little bit of weight.
Yeah, I want to lose weight, tone up.
Yeah, and that's a typical thing that people say, but going that you can just play it out. You can just literally write it out yourself and write why, and just keep going until you've got something with a little bit of meat on it. And that's going to be a much stronger place to go to, because sometimes it is going to be hard. And if you don't have a good driver to keep taking action, you know, you're going to be like, oh, what's the point? I give up.
Well, that's the thing. And if you don't find that reason, you don't find that motivation, it's so easy to give up. I've been in some like horrendous positions sometimes. I've put myself under like horrendous challenges through nobody's pushing me to do it, just self-motivation. I remember when I did Bear Grylls, The Island. I don't bring it up.
Bear Grylls, The Island?
I did.
Okay.
And there was dark moments there where I thought, fuck this, I hate it here. Like I hate it. But I used to think, no way, I'll never go on national television and look like a quitter. Do you know what I mean? So I'd find that motivation, no matter what I've done, whether it be a marathon or whatever.
But that's an important like lesson with health and nutrition, is that you don't get to quit. So a lot, like let's say you went swimming and you want to go like, I'm going to learn to swim, or you're going to go and play basketball or whatever else, and you go 20 times, you go 50 times, you know what, like I'm not getting a knack for this, I'm not enjoying it, I've got okay, but I'm still not enjoying it. Like I'm not going to do this anymore, I'm just going to give up, you know, I'm going to try a different hobby. Fine, that's like completely fine. With your diet though, you don't get to give up. If you start a new diet and it doesn't work out, you don't stop being on a diet, you just revert often back to old habits and behaviors. So it's just like, that's what you've just got to look at. Like most people eat the same 30 to 50 foods every week. So you've just got to change a couple of foods, and that literally can like transform the way you look, transform the way you feel.
That's the thing. It's like, you know, it has a massive effect on the way you look, how you feel, like your physiology. Like you can really harness everything with a great diet, but it's difficult because everywhere you go, temptation, the world is set up to tempt you. And if you don't have amazing willpower, then it's really difficult. Like I go and buy petrol and there's just chocolate bars all around me. For me, I'm just like, I just look at everything and think cellulite, 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 cellulite. That's the way I've trained my brain to like completely ignore it. I don't have like desserts, nothing. I live like a monk these days. I wasn't always like this, by the way. But these days I live like a monk. Black coffee and water, that's it.
Wow.
Boring. Whatever.
So I like have dessert every day.
Do you? You don't get cellulite though, mate. Not like a female will do.
I think we've been having like a Aldi ice cream, like the flipping Biscoff ones, probably like every day for about 2 months now. So, I mean, like 230 odd calories.
I know, but compound that over time, and I'd be seeing that on my ass and the back of my legs, believe me. Yeah, I would.
I mean, my girlfriend Steph has them as well. And we do try to teach some of our clients of, you know, having more of a, you know, what you do the majority of the time matters more than the minority. So maybe I'm not going to say eat dessert like every day. But, you know, if you have it a couple of times a week, as long as the majority of your diet's coming from whole food, minimally processed, you know, good quality food. If a little bit comes from a little bit of what you love and you stay within your calories, you're still hitting your protein goals, like you're gonna be fine. And having that slightly less restrictive approach of like just eat mega clean, you know, a lot of the time is what allows these women to actually see it through with the weight loss side of things. And then maybe as we get them to graduate, if they want to look at even further holistic health, that's where, you know, we're going to take an even deeper look into their nutrition.
I think the only thing, the cheat I allow myself is a grenade bar. That's literally it.
You just said that before when you had one.
That's literally it.
And
that's only because I felt sick yesterday, so I didn't eat yesterday. And I haven't eaten this morning. I thought, I better have something before I start this. So I'll have a quick grenade bar. But that's literally the only thing I'd allow myself. I don't know. I think I've got myself into a mindset where it's like, I'm all or nothing. I'm an extreme person though. You know, I won't even have like wine or anything. No, I'm just.
So you don't drink anymore?
Don't drink anymore unless I'm going to go balls to the wall. Then I'll get. If I'm out, I'm doing it properly. If you're going out, if I'm not, I'm sober. I'm not having a couple. What's the point? So I just I'm an extreme person.
And that's I would say that's typically a lot of the mindset a lot of our clients have, is this all or nothing mentality, and it's a big part that we have to coach them through in terms of that. If you were doing a 30-day challenge, yes, you know, maybe you can do all the workouts and wake up at the same time and, you know, go for a walk up bloody midnight because you're hitting your step goal before you go to bed, no matter what. And they can hit the macros and hit this. But if you kind of zoom out for a lot of a challenge you can do, because it's finite, it's a period of time. But when you're playing like an infinite game, which is the rest of your life, can you apply that same mindset to your nutrition and training and steps? And the answer is no. You know, like life goes through seasons and ebbs and flows. For women, obviously, there's different seasons and careers, but then also, you know, going through pregnancy or, you know, lots of different things. Even menopause can have a huge impact on women's careers and everything that's going on. So having that ability that some days your best is going to be 40%, and some days it's going to be 80%, and some days it'll be 100, and some days it might be 20, but not having that ability to not judge yourself too much about it and understand the goal is to stay consistent is something we really have to work with clients, because sometimes they might lose half a pound in a week and be like, normally I'd be like, what's the point in quitting? You know what I mean? I've not been able to give it 100% and lose 5 pounds. But then next week they lose 2. And then the week after they lose 1. And then it's half again, and then it's 2. But then when you look out over 5 weeks.
Well, that's the thing, actually. So I used to post about my weight loss. And honestly, my graph used to be like up, down, then like that. You know what I mean? And then the mean average of everything was going down, but then some weeks I would go up by a pound, down by a pound. So I was like, so I'd weigh myself consistently like 3 times a week, but I never got like caught up in the number too much because I knew that overall I'm going exactly the way I want to. And I think people put too much emphasis on that weight that day, you know.
They do, so your body can naturally fluctuate through about 10 different reasons. If you've eaten a late meal, if you've been stressed the day before, if you've had a poor night's sleep, if you've not drank enough water, if you've eaten a salty meal before bed, there's lots of different things that can actually spike your weight. But like weight loss doesn't mean you're not, weight gain doesn't necessarily not having fat gain. So we'll actually get our clients to weigh themselves either a couple of times a week or every day, but take the average. So you'll look at the average, because weight loss in most cases when you zoom out should be linear, even though it will constantly spike up and down. So there's all of those reasons which, you know, sometimes you might work late, so you eat a meal late, or you might not get enough sleep, or the baby kept you up in the middle of the night. Again, all going to cause you to hold on to a little bit more water weight the next day. But when you zoom out, you should be seeing that consistent weight loss. And then also women's menstrual cycles. So for a lot of women, leading up to their period will tend to feel maybe a little bit bloated, a little bit heavier. And, you know, it depends on you genetically as a person. But I've seen some women be like a pound or 2 heavier, but I've seen some women be like 8 pounds heavier. Cup size has gone up on the boobs, which is wild. And if you don't know that, we were talking about tracking your cycle before, this can be like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, there's no point in me even dieting. I've just gained 5-6 pounds, and it's like, this happens to you every month, you know, and you can kind of see that. So the scales gets a bad rap. It gets called the sad step, and a lot of people wrap up emotion in the scales, but it's just a tool to measure. And if you are looking to lose weight and you've consistently not lost weight for a couple of weeks, that's a clear way of your body saying that you're possibly eating too many calories and what you're doing is not working.
Yeah. We get a lot of ladies, and I see a lot of like ads getting thrown out there saying, we can vanish your meno belly. Yeah. And I'm like, well, there's one company in particular, I don't know how they get away with what they say in some of their ads. It's ridiculous. It's like, I'd flushed 10 pounds away of meno belly. I'm like, well, my God. Yeah. It's just impossible. But so we get lots of questions about weight gain during menopause. So you have like a big menopause program inside your Body Smart Fitness, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of it will just be as you're going through menopause. So menopause is very much just a hormone deficiency. Same for male menopause. It's a hormone deficiency. Guys' testosterone levels are going lower. Women's estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone levels are going lower. That's probably one thing that isn't talked about enough with women going through menopause, is like just maybe how much testosterone they need. I think your testosterone levels as a woman is 10 times higher than your estrogen levels. Yeah. But you know, having no estrogen in your body is horrendous for vast, different amounts of reasons. So if you've not looked after your health in terms of you've not got good sleep habits, movement habits, you don't do resistance training, you've not got muscle on your body, all of that is going to feel so much worse when you go through perimenopause and menopause. So for us, it's very much getting that foundation in a healthy place. And then there's like some supplement protocols that go down, and then I don't know how you feel about HRT, but I'm
on the fence about it. I think for some people it can work really well. I'm not against it. Yeah. again, I am dead against the way it's handed out without no explanation about what this is or what it does or who should be having it or whatever. And I do think they should be at least supplementing it with testosterone too.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of testosterone. I'm looking into a couple of other things. You can do, there's some really good herbs out there actually. There's one called, I don't know if you've come across this, called testosterone.
I've not.
Okay, so this looks great actually, but it's a novel food, so you can't buy it in the UK. And it's for men especially that I've seen taking it, it's like amazing. Like their performance in the gym and everything is like really ramping up.
Roof. Yeah.
Amazing. Yep. And I thought, wow, I wonder what would happen if you give that to a female. So, but it looks really, really good, promising actually. But testosterone is not spoken about.
It's not spoken about now, and it's
critical.
Yeah, and it'll play a huge part as well in women's libidos. So you know what I mean? Like there's already issues like vaginal dryness and other libido issues that can happen when you're going through menopause, which is obviously just shit. And if your libido is gone as well, you know, that's not just affecting you personally, it's probably affecting your partner. And it's, you want to be able to, I think the huge shift, at least what I've experienced of speaking to women going through menopause, is that just a sense of loss of self, like your identity feels like it's going. And, there's just that real craving to get back to feeling somewhat normal again. Yeah. Not just physiologically, maybe you've gained some belly fat and gained some weight, but just like psychologically as well, like the brain fog and the cognitively not being able to show up the best in work or even with your family. It's hard. It can feel like a real, slap in the face.
Oh, it must be awful. It must be absolutely awful. Yeah. Well, that's one of the reasons we use something called tribulus terrestris, if you haven't come across that. So that I found a clinical trial that was used on menopausal women and at the dosage that we use it in for libido, for sexual dysfunction actually. Yeah. So that was one of the reasons I put it in the pill. And one of the things that it does do, so it doesn't give you testosterone, which is what I see loads of places, like loads of people say it doesn't do that. But what it does do is help free up your free testosterone levels. Yeah. So it disengages it from your sex hormone binding globulin and then allows the testosterone you have got to circulate around your body. That's why libido goes up. You feel like you're cognitively better and you feel a bit stronger. So Tribulus is amazing for that. Yeah. And mega. Like I can't talk about it. I love it. And when I ran my manufacturer, I was like, I'm going to give this to women. He was like, wow, we've never had anyone give it to a woman. And I think I was the first person to put it in a female pill, but my customers will tell you and attest to it. It's amazing. Yeah. Yeah. No,
I mean, it's almost, I guess, the testosterone is just seen as like, if I take that, I'm going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Exactly.
And I'm gonna,
you never look like that.
Yeah, and it's the doses that we're talking about are just so minute in terms of what women would need, but it also plays a huge role. I mean, if you can even just Google like low testosterone in men, and you see like low testosterone versus high testosterone, and it's like not just do they carry more weight, have a lower sex drive, carry less muscle, have less energy, but there's a big decrease in cognitive function as well.
And motivation. You just don't want to do anything.
Yeah. So, you almost feel like a little bit more depressed versus someone who's got high testosterone levels. It's like high cognitive function, feels confidence, walks with the shoulders back, carries more muscle, has more energy, has more strength.
Leans into challenges.
Exactly,
do you know what I mean? Can have those like bolshy, aggressive. And unfortunately, you see it on a societal level that this is why men get to the top, because they don't have the hormonal fluctuations where they're dropping in their testosterone. So they can take on these challenges every single day. And if you want a safe pair of hands looking after your company, you're going to go with the one that doesn't have the hormonal fluctuations. I say this all the time till I'm blue in the face. Yes, I don't know what the answer is. That's a bigger issue for another day. But that is why it happens, a lot of the time.
Yeah, I think there's many reasons for the gap in pay. Like that definitely plays a role going off with, having kids and stuff. If you have 2 or 3 kids throughout your lifetime and you're off for
you've got a maternity pay gap.
Yeah.
You've got
while your husband is possibly just continuing to climb that corporate ladder.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then the hormones. So it's men's hormonal levels are pretty consistent all the time. The only time it sort of decreases for us, but it's the same for women, as if you have a poor night's sleep or if you're drinking a lot of alcohol and that type of stuff. So it's a lot harder for women. It just is. Yeah.
Okay, so is there anything like you've got, so if you want to follow Jaymie, I'll give you his details at the end, but is there any like success stories you can think of at the moment which would be inspirational to our listeners?
Oh, we've got so many, but one of the ones, the big ones that sticks out for me was I had a lady called Anna. She signed up on New Year's Eve, which her reason was, I want to get ahead of the year. So far, I already like that. Her goal was actually just to lose about 3 stone so she could qualify for IVF.
Wow.
And over the course of that next year, she lost 100 pounds, which I think is around 7.5 stone. And then
wow.
in the February, so about 14 months after, she hadn't lost weight for quite some time. And I had somehow had a knack of like guessing when some of my clients are possibly pregnant.
Right.
And I asked her a couple of times, and obviously you've got to be, for most people, if you were to say that, you could get a slap on the face. I have a good relationship with my clients. So I asked her because the weight had plateaued, and I believe that she was doing everything militant to the T. And then I spoke to her one week and she just like burst out crying and she was like, I'm pregnant. But it was, I think she wanted to push a bit further, but was also just emotionally overwhelmed that like, hey, I've just managed to do this naturally.
Yeah.
Instead of, going down the IVF route, which is also extremely expensive, but also just to know that like, hey, my body does work and I can get there. And she's gone on to have 2, amazing little baby boys now.
That's amazing.
And is, living her best life and has got an amazing family. So that's been huge. But the stories that so many of our clients have is I wish I'd done this a decade ago. I think the story we all tell ourselves is it's not the right time.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the right time doesn't exist. Like I think I've been telling myself I'm going to learn Spanish for the past 2 years and I'll do it when I've got more time. It doesn't exist. You have to just make the time. And if this is important to you, which it should be if it's affecting your self-confidence, how you speak to yourself in the morning, every time you step on the scales, you feel frustrated. Maybe you're not going for that promotion in your career because you don't have the confidence to do so. It can be really wreaking havoc in so many people's lives in so many ways. Like now is the right time. Like I make the time, and it's even if it's busy, it's actually the best time to start, because if that quote unquote right time ever comes up and exists, what happens is when it gets busy again, you quit. So if you actually learn how to stay on top of your health and wellness when it's busy, when you get more time, it's easier. But then when it gets busy again, you already have the strategies and fundamentals to keep on top of it. So, the famous quote, the healthy person has many wishes, the sick person has one. Like do not wait. Like prevention's always better than the cure. And on the other side of getting your health and wellness in check is quite literally your best life. More energy, more confidence, more everything. And it's energy's time. If you get to the end of the day and you're wanting to lie on the couch or can't do nothing, or you haven't got the energy to play with your kids, like you're robbing yourself of those experiences. If you've got more energy and you can do all that, like you literally feel like you have a longer life, a better life.
I think that's a great place to finish. But that's brilliant. Yeah, absolutely amazing. And I completely agree with you on everything you just said. You can't put it off. It's like, and you also can't take shortcuts. I really do disagree with people who just like really want this quick fix and just, I'm like, no, do you know what? Any shortcut will be the longest path you've ever taken.
Yeah, because you'll just continue that yo-yo of on a diet, off a diet, on a diet, off a diet.
Yeah.
You see it in the business world as well.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, it's the same sort of mindset.
Yeah, it's I could talk to you all day, and like I said, I could repost every single thing that you put on there, to be honest. And
Thank you.
And that's why I love what you do. It's absolutely brilliant. You've expanded unbelievably over how long have you been going now?
Since 2015, so 8 years.
8 years,
yeah,
wow.
So quite some time. Yeah.
Amazing. It's a great Liverpool success story as well, because now you're like going global. You're in America, Canada. Definitely,
that's where our team is, and then our clients are in 27 different countries.
Oh,
so yeah,
brilliant.
we're getting there. We're expanding, but we're making sure we keep our quality, 10 out of 10 first and foremost.
Yeah, brilliant. And if people want to get hold of you, where did they go?
So at Body Smart Fitness is on all our social media channels. bodysmartfitness.com is our website, and yeah, you'll see my face doing some hopefully valuable educational and entertaining videos.
No, you're definitely good value, great educational pieces, really good snippets and good bits of information, and just great motivation. So ladies, I would get on Jaymie, definitely follow him, he's brilliant. Thank you very much.